All right, we got any more questions? Because if not, we're going to have dinner, and then we're going to go run some. But what we're going to do is run some clips in a little bit of some of the show. We can't run the whole show, but we've got some of the clips that'll remind you. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I want to know what thing you got past the censors that you're proudest of. You must tell the story.
Maria, what do I do now? That's a direct question. As long as it aired. As long as it aired. Well, I think one of my favorites was when Judy was standing there and said, "Sock it to me," and her wig flew off, and she was there with, and she said, "It's the first time I've ever been bald on television." That was certainly one of my favorites, and one of yours, as I recall. But there were more.
Yeah.
And if you will meet us outside, Mr. Wolf will regale you with a couple of stories who topped that. And they did get on the air. See, it wasn't dirty. It was playful.
Yeah.
It was dirty.
And fast.
Yes, what?
I'd like to ask Alan Suze how he came to Laugh-In and what he did.
I met George in New York. I had worked with George in Las Vegas, and he said, "I'm doing this show Laugh-In, and would I come to the hotel and see it?" And he was talking to me, and the guy behind me was playing the Whiff and Poof song in the bar. And I kept going, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And I thought, have I just screwed myself out of a job, or did I get a job? And then the next thing, I got the job. And it was great for me because I don't have to take part-time work anymore.
At a time when many radio broadcasters were not seen, what kind of response did you get, and have you continued to get over the years?
Well, it was funny. As George pointed out when he gave me that wonderful, glowing introduction a few moments ago, I had been hired for the show, and we weren't really sure what I was going to do. And so we had gone over to this restaurant, the Smokehouse Restaurant in Burbank, in beautiful downtown Burbank, and I had typewriter Nerf on my hands from an old typewriter ribbon. And so Artie Johnson, George, and Digby Wolf, we were going to lunch that day, and we went into this tiled bathroom, and as a satire on the 1940 announcers, because I never did announce that way until the show, I put my hand over my ear and said, the acoustics are good in here. And George said, "That's what I want you to do on the show." I said, "You want me to wash my hands?" And he said, No, be this announcer who would act as a transition in between things.
So if there's anyone else here with any talent, I'll meet you in the men's room in about... What? Yes.
George, how difficult was it to chase down guests? Did you find they were calling you? You had Billy Graham on it. You had some phenomenal people on.
He came on to try to help.
Would they be calling you and say, "Please put me on"?
In the beginning, Dick, we had to call and get people and whatever, but then after a while, I remember Jack Lemmon went home and his kid said, "You're nothing"?
That was Kirk Douglas, right.
Kirk Douglas, too.
Kirk said that I want to do some cameos because these two kids will kill me if I don't. And those two kids today are Peter and Eric, who are big producers and amazing.
Jack Lemmon's kid said to him, "If you were a star, you'd be on Laugh-In."
You have to remember that there were quite a few shows aired shot before they were aired. So I'll never forget Douglas Fairbanks Jr. Staring at us because he was doing cameos, and he said, "Well, what's funny about that?" And he had no idea what he was doing, and neither did Mr. Wayne, really, the first time.
Neither did Jaja.
There was a lady by the name of Carolyn Raskin. I won't go into it now, but developed most of the modern editing techniques because Laugh-In was impossible to do. And Mr. Schlosser cleaned out the whole basement of NBC Burbank where we had machines. And she developed many of the editing processes, which now today have become electronic. But it was an impossible job, and she did it, and I wish she was here.
You know how, is Carolyn not here?
I don't think so.
Because remember how she used to be up at the top and keep her script out on a podium, kind of, Yeah. And the first day I was on Laugh-In, the first time on a Wednesday, or whatever that day is, when we'd all be up we could go wander in and out of the bleachers, Henry came up and set fire to her script. And I watched it just go up in smoke, I thought it was like
inspiration for a poem.
And they kept thinking that Henry's poems were dirty. And they said, "What does that mean? What was the one about a nooner or something?" I don't know. Have we got any more questions? Because if not, we're going to have a bite to eat. And I just want to thank you all for really this. you know, when you go into one of these things, you're a little bit nervous. How's it going to go and everything? But you've just been wonderful with us, and it's really been fun. And we hope you have a nice dinner.